right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this one. In fact, I'm so excited. I'm actually a little bit earlier than scheduled time here because we have a crew of phenomenal talent here for an up and coming company called Firestar Championship Wrestling. And it is really going to be a Firestar like crew here. We're going to be in some big matches. We're going to have championship matches to talk about, rumbles, you name it. We're going to talk about it all here. We've got so many people here. I'm going to have to do my best to get through the intro one by one, but we will do that here. So, as we're here now live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, sportnarium.com/player, let's dive right into it. So, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, global sports show. Pro wrestling stars here from Firestar Championship Wrestling. BMD Leo McLean and the future West Danger. And a man who needs no introduction, but he gets one anyway. Davey Good evening, everyone.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you guys? I guess everybody's speechless here because it was quite an intro. Davey, jump in there.
I'm just looking shocked that I'm on the show and promoting a upcoming show that everybody's going to be on. I'm so excited. Plus, I've watched your podcast and I'm a big fan.
I appreciate that. Check is in the mail. Certainly, we'll make sure to make the transaction go over from dollars to pounds and make sure that that comes as soon as possible. I'm all kidding here, but obviously, tremendous honor to be with everybody here. So I figured I'd start one by one, and kind of for those that are listening and watching, maybe tell us what we can expect you guys and gals will be doing in the ring coming up March the 4th, next weekend, at Firestar Championship Wrestling. So I'll go around the room. I'll go with BMD first. BMD, obviously, we've been with you in the past. We know you from CCW, but talk about what we'll be seeing from you coming up first here at Firestar Championship Wrestling next week.
Well, now the niceties are over. When it comes to that Rumble next week, doesn't matter who's in there, whether I like you, I dislike you, everyone in that ring's going to be a target. I'm coming out at number 3. I'm happy to announce that. You can have that crystal ball there. Leo, I'm looking at you now. Get in my way. There's going to be some pain, and I expect you to bring it back 110%.
Ooh, oh boy. All right, I think the fireworks have literally become open and declared right now on Sportswire Radio. Now, I'll go to now Leo and Bella, and obviously Leo McLean, they certainly call you the unpredictable jackal for a reason. So talk about what we'll be seeing in the ring from you first, and then we'll get to the Oracle, Bella.
Well, I put out an open challenge, and you may notice it was the very first promo of Firestar. And I'm actually impressed. The necessary evil Palmer has answered. Big boy. Big. But he's not ready for something that's, as you said, unpredictable. Now, to the Rumble, I know where I'm coming out, but yous won't. Again, unpredictable. Bella knows. She doesn't even have to know numbers. She knows. She is the pagan oracle. But BMD, you may have painted a target here. I see you. You're first.
Wow. Okay. All right. Strong words here. And before I get to the future West Danger and the Scottish Savage Davy Blaze, let me get to a few comments here. Rockstar Rob Bagwell has tuned in, which I think, Mr. Blaze, you'll be addressing shortly. I have a feeling. And then our guest in a little while, Mr. Skullz, is in the house here, and he is watching with obviously interest as well. But the future West Danger here. Certainly for those that are watching here on Sportswire Radio, I mean, tell us what we can expect from you and anything else to start here next week, March the 4th.
Well, as you know, I'm the future West Danger. I am kind of what you call a young veteran in wrestling. I've been wrestling for over 8 years, and I'm carrying on my wrestling journey. And I've come to Firestar Championship Wrestling so I can take that title and add to my collection. I do say collection. I don't really have any belts yet, but it's all in here.
You gotta start somewhere, right? You gotta start a collection sometime.
Exactly. I've got the moves to show. I walk the walk, and I talk the talk. I'm the whole package, and you will see that in the ring. I won't say what number I'm coming out because the second year my music, you already know the winner. You know it instantly.
Okay. All right. Before I get to Oracle, Bella, which I want to actually talk about for a second. Edward Potter says Leo and Bella love the face paint, and Bella, you're going to be in also another match here for a championship, and obviously happy to be with you here and hear from you the first time and talk about what we can expect coming up from you next week, and as you'll be competing for the women's championship against Christy Love and the Fiery Vixen Summer Rain.
Well, as if you've seen my promo on the match, you'll know I don't see myself when I have visions. So it's all mystery. But I know one thing for sure. Don't take your eyes off, because it will be magical.
Well, I'll tell you what, you certainly remind me of when I was in the 5th grade and I had one of those, and unfortunately I don't have it anymore, but thankfully you have it. But Davy Blaze, I have to get to you, my friend, because you are going to be in a big, big match. Obviously, for all the marbles, it's probably going to be the main event here, and it's a stacked card to begin with for the right to be the first ever Firestar Heavyweight Championship against Rockstar Rob Bagwell. And obviously, Davey, you have certainly had a journey. We're certainly well acquainted with your career. And for those that are listening and watching, I mean, talk about what we can expect here for the first ever Firestar Heavyweight Championship between you and Rockstar Rob Bagwell.
Well, the only thing that I can say, what people can expect, is just what I do is what I do. I come down and I travel all over. I travel to Europe. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a Scottish savage. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. But I'll tell you what, Rob Bagwell, the rock star, Rob Bagwell, he's caught my attention. So that goes to show you, like, if somebody's making waves that big and he's surfing them and then making them through and smashing every obstacle, every opponent, and then getting to higher and higher and higher and higher levels, especially to the level where he's in for the World Heavyweight Championship, the FC World Heavyweight Championship against me, Davy Blaze. And I'm not saying this because I'm got an ego. I don't believe in egos, but I've certainly worked hard to get to where I am today, and I'm still working hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm still paying my dues. I'm still kind of as a veteran myself. You know what I mean? It's I'm certainly definitely leading by example, and I'm very excited. You know, when I first started talking to FCW about coming down, I did say I seen Rob's promo, and this is me first time responding to it. Like, see, I'm not one of these guys that comes and does fancy flips and insecurities and like kick pads and all that. No, don't get me wrong, it's great, it's tidy, but hey, I'm just a straight up guy that will knock your head clean off your shoulders. Fact. Take your name to the bank while laughing. Deposit, boom, cash money, baby. Right? Now, Rob, the rockstar, Rob Bagwell, right? I'm not saying that every match that I've had and every opponent that I've faced that I've won, I've lost. But at the end of the day, this is for a title. This is also going to be my first heavyweight championship title. And damn well going to tell you, Rob, you're going to get a shock factor, wee man. Because I'm going to be leaving that venue with that belt around my waist. And I don't care if you've got a crystal ball and you can see the future. or you're a young veteran and in this game for 18 years or 8 years, or BMD, my man, hey, look, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be on top and see the line, and the line's hungry. Don't think that I don't need to leave my spot. I'll come down and I'll feed.
Well, I definitely could see that here, and I certainly wouldn't want to be in the way of you. And we have a number of comments here already, so I certainly want to get to them. Rockstar Rob Bagel, who I know is going to have some response after you, Mr. Blaze, says, you've got a bright future, West Danger, but you've got another 19 people in the way. So, I mean, yeah, you are one of 20, so that's a good math there, right? Taylor Trutz, obviously, we know him very well from CCW, says, good evening, and he does the BMD over and over like RVD. And he also gives a big shout-out to Davey Blaze here. The lawman Kyle Kennedy, 1/4 of the first ever tag team champions in nonstop action wrestling. He is all over the place, says good evening. We also have the promoter from the Wrestling War Zone, and that is, of course, Darrow Johnson from the state of California. So he's up bright and early to see you guys, and he says some scary people in here. And Edward Potter says, he has a Stone Cold Steve Austin-like temper, just saying. Appreciate that. Somebody else who's going to be on the card here, Mr. Hammerhead Smith, who's going to be in a really, really, really big match against Gianni Valletta. He's a legend. He says, BMD, listen, son, you know exactly what I do firsthand to the other guys. I'm not planned on bringing in this Rumble, but if it did, that would be another W in the Hammer's corner after when I finished off Gianni Valletta and become the new European champion. Before I get to more comments, you're chuckling there, BMD, but why? Hammerhead Smith Jr., I mean, he's no joke. I mean, what do you want to say toward that?
Hammerhead Smith is certainly no joke. He's a very tough person, and he is at the level he is for a damn good reason. What you're saying about you coming into that Rumble, as Tom said earlier, there's a lot of people in that match and a lot of people who are hungry. So if you do happen to find yourself in the ring with me, you'll be treated the same as anyone else, a target.
Okay, all right. Certainly, there will be a lot of targets for sure here. The gentleman thug, Ronnie Thatcher from CCW and Carnage Championship Wrestling says, good evening, you bunch of mugs. Darrow says, Davey Blaze reminds me of the Dynamite Kid. Interesting. It's a big one. You know, speaking of the Dynamite Kid, I was watching some of his family members last night at MLW Underground, the Billington Bulldogs, because they were in action against the FBI, a new version of the fully blooded Italians. Little Guido is still going out there, and he looks fine. Go ahead, jump in.
I just want to say to Darryl Johnson, that's massive, man. Like, seriously, like, thank you very much. That's a lovely, lovely compliment. Like, I just hope that that I'm there and I keep going. Do you know what I mean? I just keep there. Do you know what I mean? But thank you.
And Darrow knows a thing or two about wrestlers because he's a promoter. So he obviously he sees the talent and he evaluates it.
Thanks, baby. Woo!
I want to give also a big shout out to somebody who certainly is watching you guys and scouting them because he has not one but 2 World Heavyweight Championships. He is our guest tomorrow night on Sportswire Radio. His name is Disciple, the Wrecking Crew Disciple. And he says, good evening. Double heavyweight champion here. Hope to be at Firestar Championship Wrestling down the line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Disciple, if you want to come down to FCW and you're going to say, oh, double champ here, I'll tell you what, me man, why don't you put your balls back in your handbag, bring you both your belts, I don't care how you carry them around your shoulder or around your waist or looking like a bad power lifter strap. I'll tell you what, I'll kick you right in the clacker bag, me man, and it'll take you clean off them. And then I'll be the triple crown tap. Isn't that right?
Okay, well, you know, I will say, though, in defense of Disciple, he has been on a very impressive run. He has stacked a number of opponents, and he's knocked them all down and some.
He's never been in the ring with a guy like me, mate.
Okay, well, that's a fair point. I mean, certainly, if a promoter is out there and they want to see it, certainly find it. Sign the
contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
Ooh. Well, I think the shots have already been fired here. We're only 10 or 15 minutes in here on Sportswire. Somebody else who's going to be on the card and is a good friend of ours here, Mr. Joel Cobra, one half of the Modern Day Mafia, says good evening. Also, we have Mr. Anthony Finkel, all the way from Brooklyn, New York, my neck of the woods here. Huge wrestling fan, says he's checking in. Also, Mr. Bagwell says here a spot has just opened up in the Rumble, and we have breaking news. Hammerhead Smith Jr. has now entered that 20-person Rumble here to determine the first ever open weight champion here in Sportswire Radio here for Firestar Championship Wrestling. So it looks like here Hammerhead Smith had said something, and it has triggered management because you have it here first.
A bit late, wasn't it?
Amazing.
Your wish has been answered.
Well, I'll tell you what here. It looks like here it's going to evolve here into something that could be a very, very interesting turn of events here. And that's why you must follow Firestar Championship Wrestling here. Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram. Also like their page on Facebook as well. Joe Cobra says, line them up and knock them down. My money is on Davey Blaze against Rockstar Rob Bagwell. I'll tell you what, looking at Davey right now, looking at the shape he's in, looking at the mindset. He's not here to make friends. He's not here to do anything to get more views, more followers on social media. He's here for one reason only, and that's to win that World Heavyweight Championship, one of the most valued prizes in this sport right now. It's not about Roman Reigns Championship. It's not about MJF and AEW. It's not about Alexander Hammerstone and MLW. It's not about Josh Alexander and Impact Wrestling, Tyrus in the NWA. It's about the Firestar Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, and it very well could be Davey Blaze is here on March the 4th. Darrow also says, welcome. Disciple says here, happy to oblige, more than happy to slap your Scottish mouth.
Oh, that's good. You can talk. You can act all gangster over your keyboard. Well, I'll tell you what, wee man, you couldn't even lace my boots. You couldn't even put a canvas on a ring, never mind carry 2 championship belts. So put your money where your mouth is. Let Joe Cobra put money on it. And then see when I kick your back end and he ends his money on that bet, I'll leather him and all and take everything right off him. And I'll get and have a nice night out. So,
well, yeah. I'll tell you what here. It's certainly evolved here, and it's devolved. This is a general question before I get to more comments. Hey, loving the interview. Where can I turn into the show? Well, Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook is where you can find out more information. I know that this person is in the state of Wisconsin, so he might be looking for a stream of this. I mean, that'll be up to management if they'll want to stream the show live. But for more information to follow these great talents, it's Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook. And this individual is called Kodak Kid, and he's from Wrestling Championship Entertainment in the state of Wisconsin. So he is tuned in here. So you've got people from all over the world that are in the house here. And Skullz seems to agree with Blaze about Disciple because he thinks that you're going to put him on a silver platter. But stay tuned here. Hammerhead Smith Jr. says, yo, Davey Blaze, I'm aware of your successes, and listen, son, you may have talent, but listen, if you do become the heavyweight champion, I damn well will be coming after you. You say people have never stepped in the ring with someone like you. I'm a second-generation wrestler. Keep your eyes peeled, son. You want to respond to that here, Mr. Davey Blaze, the Scottish Savage?
Hey, my actions speak louder than words. You can look right into my eyes. And I'll tell you what, big man, Hammerhead Smith. Yeah, I got that right, yeah. You might be second generation. That's fantastic. But at the end of the day, I'll hit you so hard that your first generation family in the professional wrestling that they brought through, they'll feel you. They'll feel you get absolute leathered. So how about that? Put your money where your mouth is, you and all, and line them up, baby. Line them up, because I'll knock every single one of these right down.
Wow, I'll tell you what here on Sportswire Radio tonight, the shots have been fired and we are only just getting warmed up here. Let's get to some more comments here. Rockstar Rob Bagwell again goes, Davey, we have a lot in common. Both veterans, both wrestled everywhere, but come the 4th of March, you will find out why I'm the real rock star in professional wrestling. Oof. Well, I'll tell you what, it certainly seems like Rob Bagwell is doing more these days than Buff Bagwell does, because Rob Bagwell, if he wins this championship, could be the stuff. But Davey Blaze, I have a feeling, has something to say about that. And Skull says this is not like the EWF where he wrestles. Okay, great stuff here. Let's come now and go back to everybody one by one. And I want to ask everybody in kind of a way to really talk about, just as kind of Kodak Kid had mentioned, about Firestar Championship Wrestling. So for you guys here, talk about what it means to be on this show and to be a part of Firestar Championship Wrestling. So I'll go to you, BMD, first.
Okay. This is quite a special one because it's not only it's my debut at a new promotion. I'm going somewhere quite close to home, somewhere where I was quite close to growing up. You know, Beverly's just a short drive down away from Bridlington. I was in a military family, so we moved around quite a lot, but Bridlington was the place we stayed at for the longest. It's where all my friends are. A lot of my family, you know, my sister's coming down, my niece and nephew are coming down. A lot of my friends that I haven't seen since before COVID. It's quite important because, you know, Beverly hadn't had much of a wrestling scene back in the day, and now we're bringing wrestling back to East Yorkshire. It's incredible. I'm really excited to be there.
I could definitely see that there's something extra, I think, about wrestling in front of your hometown, especially family and friends since COVID. Now, I'll go with you, the unpredictable Jackal. Next, Leo McCain. I mean, talk to me about what it means to be a part of Firestar Championship Wrestling and just how this could maybe be a springboard for you coming up here next weekend.
Well, for myself, it's going to be my debut to England. Not left Scotland to wrestle, so it's got to be a first. And since it's a debuting company, best way to put it is new company, new country, same havoc. So, shall we spread more?
Okay, well, you know what? Certainly, I could see you're going to do some of those things here. And for you, the Oracle Bella, I mean, obviously, we've got a women's championship that you could be holding here next weekend. But also, I mean, talk to me in a general way about what it means to be a part of here, a company like Firestar Championship Wrestling and being on the card here next weekend.
Well, much like Leo, I've not left Scotland to wrestle. So this will be a first, plus my debut. Now, it is completely my first match. My first debut going out there. So, it's a lot. And it's...
I believe it's your first triple threat.
that too. But it is... What's the word?
If you're thinking havoc, I think more you're going to cause a lot of poison.
That one.
Let me ask you guys a follow-up before I get to future West Danger and Mr. Davey Blaze, because you talk about, obviously, the travel here from Scotland to England here in the UK. And for those like me that are in New York or a few other people that might be listening to this from different parts of the world or in the United States, talk about how important that is and just kind of maybe this travel here in terms of maybe how big of a deal it is for you guys.
Well, for myself, it's a big deal because I want to branch out. England is just a start. One day I'll probably want to come over to the States, go anywhere in Europe. I want to be around the world. Is that the same for you?
I follow you everywhere.
So we both just want to leave a paw print and also shine as bright as the moon.
Okay, all right. Those are some interesting answers there. And for you, the future West Danger, obviously you're the young veteran here, but obviously new company starting out, first show coming up. You're a part of it. You're going to be a big part of things. And talk about just what that means to be part of Firestar Championship Wrestling and for you coming up next weekend.
It means quite a lot to me to wrestle quite far away from home. Basically, right now I'm living in quite a small town called Pilling. It's quite far away, about 4 hour journey to get here. But my family, we lived in Spain for a little bit when I was little, only for a while. And then we came back to England. We had nothing. We only came back with a baby in a backpack. And from day one, my family have been fighting to get where they are now. And I'm prepared to fight myself to show that I am the future. And I've proven it so many times. I've proven it 6 times. I'll make it 7 times. I have wrestled in Preston. I have wrestled in Blackpool. I have wrestled in both them places, and every time I put on a show. Doesn't matter if I was 7 or I was 15 as I am now. Every time I was there, I put on a show, and I'm going to do that at Firestar, March the 4th.
Well, I'll tell you what, you very well could do that. Davey Blaze, obviously, you're the veteran. You've been in the situations here that most of these talents would probably certainly hope to be in at some point. But, I mean, for those that are listening and watching here, I mean, Firestar Championship Wrestling, new promotion. I mean, talk about what that means to you and just kind of being a part of the show here next weekend.
All falls down to one word, Tom. Obsession. Like, my obsession is professional wrestling. My love is professional wrestling. But my obsession is that I want to be here. I'm obsessed with being there. I'm obsessed with being champion, tag champion, zero G champion, open weight champion, you name it. Like, I'm obsessed to get to where other people are. I'm obsessed to climb the ladder constantly, even though if I fell back down in the past, and I constantly get back up, because when you get knocked down, mate, it's all about how you get up and how you continue, right? It's all about passion. But the biggest thing for me is you can have all the talent. That's great. It's great to have talent, right? You can have all the talent in the world. You can have the best good looks. But at the end of the day, see, obsession, it beats everything, right? I'm obsessed to make what was once fantastic, even though that I have other people from up and down the UK, like Scotland, England, Wales, Ireland, right? You know, we built up the Scottish scene, and the Scottish scene became massive, and it was the same with the people down in England, like Rev Pro, Progress, PCW,
Yep.
right? So it was like up in Scotland, we had PBW, we had BCW, we had ICW, SWA. Do you know what I mean? And it was like I've always been told that I'm old school, like kind of trained, right? And it's like, doesn't matter. I've wrestled for small companies, I've wrestled for big companies, and I've like kind of dart matches for like and tryouts for big massive companies. And it's like at the end of the day, it's like every show, no matter if it's like 5 people, 2 people, 0 people, if you're booked to show up, it's a small company to a big company, we show to a big show, you still put 110% effort in, because if you have got no obsession, you might have the talent, you might have the love for it, but if you have no obsession, then to me, obsession just marks everything. Obsession ticks every single box, because obsession is going to be the thing that gets you to the top. Because, and even at that, when you're at the top, you're still going to be obsessed, aren't you? So where else are you going to go? I might end up building a ladder, creating a new ladder, never know and climb it myself, because I'm that obsessed. But I'm obsessed with Firestar Championship Wrestling, the same as every other company that I'm wrestling on, and I appear on, or I go down to train it, because at the end of the day, I'm like kind of leading by example, as I said earlier on, as a veteran myself in the scene for 14 years, right? And it's my job now, even though it's still working hard and, you know, still getting where I want to get, right? But I want to focus on and bringing through the new generation. I want to bring them up. I want to teach them how to be a professional wrestler, how to conduct yourself, like how to promote yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like how to stand, like kind of present yourself. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I've got contacts through like my head coach, Kid Fight. You know what I mean? And it's like you make these contacts in business, again, learning how to promote yourself and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's definitely a key main factor that I can pass all this stuff on, and I can make them to the best of my abilities, in which I will do. And including that, like when people are in the ring with me, doesn't matter if, you know, you don't need to be like myself, like 14 or somebody that's like 18 or somebody that's, you don't need to learn off somebody. Like, for instance, I could learn off BMD, Wheel Bella, Ranger, yourself, right? And we could all learn off each other. But different kind of years of experience, do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a revolving circle. And it's, long story short, mate, again, just obsessed. Right.
I could see that. No, there's no question. And I think to be a professional wrestler, you have to be obsessed. You have to go out and do those things. And I think clearly these wrestlers here with us tonight are examples of why we are obsessed, most importantly, with Firestar Championship Wrestling. And I have a ton of comments, so let's try to get to some of those here. Skull says Blaze is going to make shark fin soup out of Hammerhead Smith Jr. Well, we'll have to find out, right? That's up to the promoters. Lord Damian Stone here. We know him very well, BMD from CCW, and also I know Mr. McLean knows him as well. The landscape of FCW is certainly an intriguing one. I'm looking forward to visiting and observing at some point in the not-too-distant future. What Lord Damian Stone is well known for is he goes to these different places. He goes and sees them, he visits them, and he kind of scouts the different talents. That's a big one here. Hammerhead Smith Jr., though, would like to comment and opine. He says, makes me laugh here, Tom. As a big man Davey here thinks he is, he slaps me silly this year. I'm up in the neck of your woods working promotions in Scotland, not only just doing my job the Hammerhead Smith way, but proving why I'm the next big thing. And I would say one point, Davey,
No,
to Hammerhead Smith Jr.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, mate.
Sure, no problem.
Hey, Hammer Smith, Hammerhead Smith, you can hammer your head off anything you want, pal. You see, at the end of the day, you might be up in Scotland now, but you were in Timbuktu, mate. Because I'll tell you what, I'm working in every single promotion and I've never seen you, wee man. So just remember what I said. I think you need to start becoming more obsessed with what you're doing up in Scotland, mate. Maybe I'll see you. But hey, go and have a can of juice and enjoy the rest of the podcast, wee man, all right? Daddy's working. Shh.
Wow. Oh, boy. I'll tell you what here. I mean, just listen. Can you imagine when everybody here meets on March the 4th? I mean, I hope that there's going to be enough building security. I hope that there's going to be enough people here. I mean, you think about, listen, what Brock and Bobby a couple weeks ago at the Chamber, when those guys couldn't be separated from each other. Can you imagine Davey Blaze, Hammerhead Smith Jr., BMD, the Future West Danger, the Oracle Bella, the Unpredictable Jackal, Leo McCain? We've got Martin Kirby on this show. We've got the Modern Day Mafia on this show. We've got Jackson Hart on this show. I mean, we've got everybody. We've got a whole list of people here. We've got Jam Dog. I mean, it's just a list of talent here. Young Horace is in action. I mean, it is a list of people here that's why I would want to go out and buy a ticket if you can and go to Firestar Championship Wrestling here. Skull says Bella is like Poison Ivy. That's a good one. I hadn't thought of the Poison Ivy reference here. You have you related to Poison Ivy at all, Bella, by any chance?
No.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Craven Rage here from Wrestling Championship Entertainment says hello from the state of Wisconsin. Another champion here has opined, and he is the CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion. His name is Hybrid, and he said he heard champion, and his eyes and ears were burning. I mean, anybody want to throw a jab out there at another world champion that's tuned in here? That gives my count at least 2, actually now 3 world champions around the world that have tuned in now, counting Craven Rage.
Davey, I'll leave this one with you, mate.
Yeah, I think you should get the wax at his ears. All I just said was I'll take belts off people left, right, and centre, mate. But I'll take it. What is that? Was that hardcore? Was that hardcore one?
No, that's the normal one, heavyweight.
It's the heavyweight champion with the underground. Yeah.
Well, I'm the number one guy, mate. I'm the number one guy. Let's go, baby. I'll take your belt off you, know, mate. As I said, line them up. Hasta la vista, baby.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we have basically wrestlers basically calling their own shots tonight. We have wrestlers basically calling out promoters, calling out this one and that one. And this is another reason why. Listen, I don't even know.
I'll even call it their mads and their dads and their dogs and their cats and their pigeons and their pigeons, mate. That's how Scottish Savage Hammer, mate. There you go.
I don't even think that they could herd cats right now. What we're going to see here.
I wouldn't, but that's the extent I'm going to, you know what?
I'll take your word for it. Listen, I will take your word for it here. We have a lot more comments here tonight. Good evening, folks, from this individual who might know another champion here, another tag team champion that we heard on before the Lawman, Kyle Kennedy. Lord Damian Stone says, climb the mountain. Once you've reached the top, find another mountain to climb and do it again and again. The destination is nice, but the journey is amazing. And I think the journey is going to be very amazing when it comes to Firestar Championship Wrestling here. Also, Rockstar Rob Bagwell would like to give an important shout out. So let's take a little breather here from what he's about to say, which I think we're all going to agree with here. He says, can I just give a shout out to the legendary Mr. Marty Jones of the Squared Circle Wrestling Academy, who will be assisting in the seminar and works extremely hard to help everyone he can in British wrestling. We love the legendary Marty Jones. I mean, you think about legends in this sport. I mean, arguably, I think, and our side of the world here in the UK, he might be the biggest active living legend right now when it comes to Marty Jones. I think we all agree with that here, right, guys and gals?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
There isn't a candle to him.
No,
No.
there's nobody, and there's nobody
In his
that
own
I
category.
would want him.
Marty Jones. In his own category. Easy.
Nope.
It's the same way like Johnny's saying, Rollerball Rocco, God rest him, Mick McManus and stuff like Big Daddy Giant. Every single one of them, all in their own category, all in their own leagues. And that's why World of Sport was so good. That was you had to get the likes of the Liverpool lads, Fit Finlay. You know what I mean? As we know, is William Regal. Do you know what I mean?
Regal and Blackpool. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
Regal all day long.
Yeah, David Boy Smith and stuff like so. It's like, yeah, all these guys. You know what I mean, and through evolution, each generation, each era. You know what I mean? And it's like they're the ones that paved the way in British wrestling. They're the ones that, like, you know what I mean? It's like these hands down, man. Each and individually amazing. Like seriously, like honestly, absolute professionalism at the best. And the fact that I'm very honoured that he's going to be the seminar that I'm taking in Maltsworth next week. I'm speechless. I'm absolutely blown away, and I think that myself. Wow, I just can't wait. Seriously,
This is literally for an upstart company like this to have this opportunity to learn from really one of the true legends around the world. I mean, Marty Jones is a big deal, and this is really, I think, well-deserved endorsement here from a company like Firestar Championship Wrestling. But I have a ton more comments here, and I got to get to them. So, because people want to talk to you guys. Con Cortez says that's a good point. If they're not obsessed, how can you trust them in the ring if their head's on it? That's a good point. Also, the Lordman Kyle Kennedy is impressed with Davey Blaze. He says, admirable words, Davey. Uncle Ralph, who you know, BMD, very well, who manages the Modern Day Mafia. I know your eyes rolled there, but he's a big part of things with the Modern Day Mafia, and CCW says good evening. Hybrid, though, gives you a tip of the hat here, Davey Blaze. He says he loves the passion. So I guess a side of...
I'm giving the tip him, I'll size 11. I'll give him. I don't need anybody's tips. I don't need anybody's respect. I don't need anybody's appreciation. All I just need for them, if they want some of this, and I'm a championship belt, I'll tell you what, you show up, stand toe to me, mate. Oh, belly to belly, you're right in my head, mate. How about that? Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you know what? Listen, you might be called the Scottish Savage for a reason, but seeing that you're wearing a Brahma Bull shirt, I might want to call you the Scottish Brahma Bull, Davey Blaze, the way that you have been with us here. Because if you're what the Scottish Brahma Bull,
take the candy ass to the SmackDown Hotel and give it raw.
I love
and we're gonna go now to some more comments here on Sportswire Radio. Kyle Cortez says, he said, grab a juice and enjoy the show.
A can of Coke, Orion Brew, Sprite, soda. Enjoy the show, mate.
Yeah, I might need that here. The Reverend here giving me a comment is Mr. James Barris, the owner and promoter of CCW, who I know is going to be watching this show here very, very closely because a bunch of his talent is going to be on this show here. So, Mr. Barris, as always, keeping his eye close to the ground here with a big shout out. Con Cortez says, I like Billy Robinson and catch old wrestling too, like the Dynamite Kid. when he was out there. So thank you, Khan, for that. Hammerhead Smith, though, certainly has something on his mind.
Yeah,
Once I'm done with Gianni Valletta, which is going to also be on the show here next weekend and become the European champion, how about this, you Davey Blaze? You absolute melt. If you do become the champion against Rockstar Rob Bagwell, that's a big if. I'll take your belt from you on the same night. So is Hammerhead Smith Jr. calling his own shots tonight? Last I counted, he wants the Openweight Championship, he wants the European Championship, and he wants the Heavyweight Championship. So is Hammerhead Smith Jr. wanting to become the Kenny Omega of Firestar Championship Wrestling and collect all the belts? Davey Blaze, I mean, certainly he's laying the gauntlet on you.
Aye, what a weight my chest. I'm absolutely crapping my drawers. Well, I'll tell you what, sorry, I was just, I might have looked like interference or right, whatever, right? But anyway, look, all I was doing was, right, see this here, Hammerhead Smith, see that tub of soda cream, right? I'm going to bring this down to me March 4th, and I'm going to slap your arse, Red Robbie, man, both cheeks, whap, back on the door. Right, and if you get any more wide, mate, seriously, you turn your computer off now. Go and read Green Eggs and Ham by J.K. Rowling or whoever wrote it. Right? You're getting me that raging now, mate. I'm going to need to put my glasses on to confront you and get into trouble.
Well, I will say this. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I do realize there might be...
Bring it to the show. Because your ass is getting Honda TGB, man. Absolute slap.
Well, I want to say this here.
But twice a night, mate. When you wake up, when you go to your bed, right? Don't nibble on your belly when you've had a big...
I do want to say that for those that are watching at home or around the world, if you do have family and kids out there, don't attempt what Davey Blaze might attempt next weekend on Firestar Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, look, Hammer. That's heavy, man.
Well, this is really going down real fast. So let's come back here.
There's another one. How about it?
I'll tell you what, they don't tell you this. They don't tell you Savage for a reason.
I think sharp, mate.
We gotta slow it down. We gotta slow it down.
Mate, you got the emails.
I feel like right now,
it's your cheesy toasty in the toaster because you've left it on too long.
Well, now I know how the likes of Ricky Lake used to feel, Jenny Jones in America, Jerry Springer, Phil Donahue, Maury Povich felt, because we certainly have gone real downhill real fast. But let's get to some more comments because people want to talk with you. And we don't want to endorse some of these things for the kids that are watching on Sportswire, but we do appreciate that here. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says Marty Jones is the freaking GOAT. And Marty Jones, by the way, is here with us. Marty Jones says, thank you for the mention. Marty. Well, we love Marty Jones. Marty Jones is a legend. He is the GOAT. Hammerhead Smith Jr., we got his comment already. He repeated himself yet again. When is next show? Now, the next show, let's get to this because it's important. We got to do our housekeeping work for Craven Rage and the Wrestling Championship Entertainment fans. March the 4th, it's in the UK. Firestar Championship Wrestling. Follow them Instagram, Facebook for more information because that's where you can get your front row seat and support these great talents like BMD, like the Oracle Bella, like the Unpredictable Jackal, Leo McLean, the future West Danger, and of course, certainly never forgetting him, the future of all professional wrestling, as some may say past, present, and future. There's the Scottish Savage, Davey Blaze here. Hybrid has to say here that shouting and screaming doesn't get you titles, though. Wish you all your luck in the journey.
There's another one. I know you crack me right up.
And also, good to see you, BMD from Hybrid. Also, Skullz says you mean a cup of tea. Con Cortez says AEW uses the dirt sheets to promote the matches. Why shouldn't you? We don't need dirt sheets. And what are dirt sheets? I don't know what dirt sheets.
UKFF.
Yeah, we don't know what dirt sheets are.
Yeah.
As far as I know, listen, I'm going to handle this for you. You stay there. I'm going to handle this for you because I like UConn Cortez. We don't know what dirt sheets are. This is real. This is real at Firestar Championship Wrestling. This isn't predetermined. This isn't scripted. What you are hearing tonight live on Sportswire Radio on Facebook, on YouTube, on my personal page at Tom Bryce, on sportnarium.com/player. These are all pipe bombs. Nobody knew what was going on here tonight. Nobody knew any of this was going to happen. This is as real as it could get. In fact, this is even more real that you see in UFC. This was more real than in America a couple of weeks ago. Super Bowl.
Break out the red panties, baby. Break out the red panties.
That's right. That is right. All endorsing what he said because this is all real. This is real at Firestar Championship Wrestling. And also, Skullz here gives the big emojis. Also, can someone else talk? We're going to get to that here because obviously we're trying our best. Davey Blaze has got me dying over here. And the lawman Kyle Kennedy says, I thought I talked too much. And also, Hammerhead Smith here says,
You're certainly eating too much.
Hammerhead Smith has said he's gotten under your skin, and he says that you're a Scottish disappointment. We gotta get everybody in here. Let's move on. Let's move on here. He's saying in general. Also, I want to give a shout out, a big recognition here for one half of the CCW Tag Team Champions, the legendary Dustin Hart, of course, from the CWO, and certainly big shout out to him. Want to make sure we recognize him as well. And we are on Sportswire Radio, and in a little while, from about 20 or so minutes from now, we will hear from Skullz from the state of California. But we are right now with big time pro wrestling stars around the world. That includes, again, BMD, the Oracle Bella, the Unpredictable Jackal, Leo McCain, the future West Danger, and the Scottish Savage, Davey Blaze. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you are on Sportswire Radio, please like and follow us on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube page at Sportswire Radio. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. Guys and gals, I want to ask you a question that I always ask, especially up-and-coming talents or even a veteran like a Davey Blaze here in terms of, let's go first with BMD. What are your goals here for 2023, and especially how next weekend is going to play a huge role in that? So, BMD, what are the goals for 2023?
Well, 2022, I got my foot in the door. 2023, I'm making an impact. It's as simple as that. Once I step into the ring next week, doesn't matter if I respect you, doesn't matter if I hate you. West Danger, you've got a lot of potential, mate, and I'll give you that.
Yeah, I know.
But it doesn't mean I'm going to go easy on you, and I don't expect you to go easy on me either.
Man, I'll run rings around you.
I respect that cockiness. I like that. But let's see next week if you confront it. You can talk the talk all you want.
But I can walk the
walk. That's a whole different ball game, bro.
Okay, all right, certainly, and I want to give a shout out to somebody that's tuned in that said they had wanted to comment, but they hadn't had their comments in. That is Casey Jack Bradley, who's also training over in GT Ministries, and I've told him go over to Facebook at Sportswire Radio, also YouTube as well if you want to see your comments, because I mean, I'm getting the comments here, so I don't know why that's an issue. But let's go over to the Unpredictable Jackal, Leo McClain. And what are your goals for 2023 and how possibly Firestar Wrestling can play a big role in this?
Well, 2023 was my goal to leave Scotland, which is happening. My next goal, to prove that a £140 Jackal can beat 295 pounds of evil. And then after that, everybody here, everybody else in Firestar, the Rumble is mine. That beautiful title is mine. So
don't make me start getting my shot.
Oh boy, here we go.
You've seen the absolute arse slapping. I just give that about 3 dafties coming on and try to get wide bait. Come on, like Leo, come on. Right, see that crystal ball? I'll tell you about. Get your missus to do that. Right, and she'll be able to tell you exactly where I'm going to be, champ. Right, when you're going to get your title defence, and then when I'm going to absolute hunt your backside to you. Yeah,
All right, I've got an announcement here.
Use your crystal ball and tell him.
I got a breaking news announcement here. So I got to cut you off, and I got to get to everybody because I do have a breaking news announcement that is involving the future West Danger. And Rob Bagwell has let us know that West Danger, you are now in the 5-on-5 elimination tag team match. So you are now, that is breaking news here. So the future West Danger, that's going to be, you want to comment on that here before I go back to
mate,
Bella?
I am over the moon. Thank you. 5-on-5 elimination tag match. Thank you so much. I just want to wrestle. I've been wrestling all my life pretty much, and being in another match is not just a rumble. That's an honor. Thank you so much.
All right, and what are your goals then for 2023? Now that I should ask you that question.
All right, so my goals 2023. I want to be able to wrestle in quite a lot of companies. I want to see if I can get any titles, but I know I'll pack up maybe, I'm say 3 or 4 if I'm lucky. But I want to wrestle in a lot of places because I'm turning 16 soon, and most companies will take me when I'm 16 in June. I've got a couple companies knocking on my door already that are waiting for me. So I've got my whole future ahead of me, and I've made this future since I've been 7 years old. I've wrestled wrestlers called Philip Michael. He's a massive wrestler back home. We got.
He just wrestled Bentley at Bolton Town Wrestling.
I know. I've wrestled another guy at Bolton Town Wrestling. He is called Axel Strife.
I know Axel Strife very well. Seen him in the LWF. Yeah. In fact, he was teaming with Jack Roberts against the Modern Day Mafia this past weekend. Yep.
I beat him, and I wrestled a guy called Big T.
I know Big T. Big T's been around probably longer than even Davey Blaze.
Yeah, mate. He had no chance on me, and I'm gonna wrestle in April 16th against Rossi Rascal, my trainer.
I know Rossi. I know very well. I mean,
he's a great wrestler.
This is my life right now. You are literally telling me this is my
everything.
Life.
You know everything.
Oh, I've covered these people.
You've covered everything. But, with 2023, I've started wrestling. I don't know the exact year, but I've been wrestling ever since then, and I've always had that potential. I've been trained by wrestlers called Ashton Smith.
Yes.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
No, Ashton Smith very well.
Sheikh El Sham.
Yes, we know the Sheikh. The Sheikh El Sham. I mean, listen, he wrestled on a WWE Raw years ago. I mean, the Sheikh El Sham is a big deal.
And right now I'm being trained by Rossi Rascal.
Okay.
And I'm honored to be trained by all of them. And I picked up every little bits of moves from them all. And I'm ready to take over them because I'm the future and they know it.
You look like the future here. And the Oracle Bella, I mean, give us your goals for 2023 and, maybe how Firestar Championship Wrestling plays a role in this.
Well, 2023, my goals. Basically, I've only been a year?
Yeah.
Been around for a year. Not very long. So, my goal is to make myself known. To get myself out there. Keep this one on the right track. And cause havoc with this one.
Don't forget your very first title as well.
That too.
All right here, and I do want to get to a couple of comments here before I get to Mr. Davey Blaze. Casey Jack Bradley had said, which it did show up on my personal page, but I'm reading it now. It's good to meet everyone and hope to meet everyone in person someday in the future when I graduate from the academy over at GT Ministries. Luke Slade says, BMD love. Appreciate that. And he also says, hello, Firestar crew again from Casey Jack Bradley. Also, Andy says here, Andy Kutelis, love BMD. You got a lot of fans here tonight, BMD, that's for sure. Also, we have here Hammerhead Smith. Send me the invite. Well, I'll tell you what, Hammerhead Smith, I will give you the floor at some point between now and next week because we don't have enough time. We do not, unfortunately, have enough time.
Is that the Johnny? Is that the janitor? I'm gonna go and do us a favour. Hammerhead Smith's not meant to be on the computer. He's on the computer. Aye. Just go and clean him up, mate. Cheers.
Okay, Skull says he'll be on soon. Yes, and I would say we'll give the guys maybe a few minutes afterwards, but we'll have Skulls no more than 15 minutes from now. So excited to get to Skulls because Skulls certainly has his own unique story. Michael Ball says Westy Danger is the greatest of all time. Well, we have listen, Marty Jones might be. He tuned in with us, and Martin Kirby's going to be on this show also, which is also another big time deal. Dustin Hart also wants to say this show is going to be epic. The roster is so versatile, and I do believe it is an international card. Wow, just much respect to everyone on this card, and thank you to everybody on this card. Thank you to all the management, all the talent that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears in a company like this from Firestar Championship Wrestling. You've got talent from so many different companies. You've got talent from different countries. You've got stars. I mean, listen, Jackson Hart, you think about the modern day mafia, Young Horace, we didn't mention, Jam Dog, who was supposed to be with us. And I think it looks like here we actually have a Skulls is here. We'll wait to Skulls. Skulls' comment, we'll see you in a few minutes. So we've got everybody here from so many different companies that are here with us. And I think that shows you that the talent and the strength of this company. I want to give a shout out to a guy that is well known all over the world on YouTube. 33,000 subscribers with us. He is the man behind the Connecting People Through Wrestling group on YouTube. You've probably seen his sign, and Rey Mysterio's had it. He's had all the AEW guys wear it. He's got clips out there with 1 million, 2 million views out there, and he's tuned in. He's a big fan of ours. His name is Chris Parkhurst. He's also the photographer for the Wrestling Warzone Connection out in California, Darrow Johnson's company. He says Boca Raton Championship Wrestling, which I'm not quite sure why is that a reference. If you could explain that to me. He says, is that what okay. It's Firestar Championship Wrestling, not Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. You might wish you're in Boca Raton right now in Florida, but they're in the UK, so that's where you might want to find out. Davey is the Scottish Rock and Stone Cold. Well, he could be.
Hey,
I mean,
hey, give me some, man. Hey, boom. Oh,
well, we certainly love that. All right, so you know what? Obviously, we see here that these are exactly reasons why you need to go out and support Firestar Championship Wrestling. You could clearly see why that this is a company that I think a lot of people are going to want to hear a lot more about, especially on Sportswire Radio, when you have a who's who of people here. But as our time is wrapping up, and I know you guys have got a lot of stuff to get ready for, you've got interviews left and right for, you've got press conferences to join, you've got agents to go and seek, you've got promoters, who knows what else here to get ready for. But most importantly, your opponent.
Get should have creepy going by.
No, that went by. Well, you know what? I'm sure that Mr. Hammerhead Smith Jr. is paying close attention to that. But let's get to closing thoughts here. Plug some social medias out there first. And I want to go with Mr. BMD first because you always are popping up on my screen first. So I want to give you closing thoughts for anybody you're going to cross in the ring with at the Openweight Championship Top Rope Rumble. I want you to plug social media and anything else you want to say with us here on Sportswire Radio before we move on tonight.
Well, as always, it's always been a pleasure to join you, Tom. Leo, I know you've got Palmer beforehand. I know you're going to have one hell of a fight. But when you come into that Rumble, it doesn't matter what number you come into because I'm still going to bop you in the face. You ain't going out of there as champion. Neither are you, young lad. It's nothing personal. Doesn't matter who you are. I will be walking out your Openweight Championship, and there is not a thing anyone can do about it. I will be damned if I am leaving Beverly empty-handed.
Mate, you fill up my screen.
Oh, excuse me. Any more of that, wee man? And I might, it's just the same night I take the heavyweight title, I might just take myself into your match and take your belt and all. I'll let you warm it up and I'll let you get a right good polish for me. How does that sound?
Anytime, Davey.
My man.
I may respect you, but if we go for a fight, we kick the hell out of each other, and then whoever loses buys the beer. How does that sound?
Ooh!
Hey, how about we just get straight to the bar, brother?
Oh, I'll tell you what, we still got time. Listen, as we get off the air, there could be a pub somewhere that you guys keep me up. There's still a little bit of time left there. So, and social media for those that are listening and watching, plug social media.
BMD, search on Facebook, BMD. Instagram is big_Mark_Dafter.
You are definitely the Daft Punk as a group I famously be. And for you, before we move on to closing thoughts from everyone else here, Walker Wall Street calls you weak, BMD. And he also says Davey Blaze is also weak. So Walker Wall Street...
Speaking see your dad's catheter bag. Your dad's catheter bag is speaking see the front of his trousers. It's like the map of China, wee man. Call me. I'll come down to your door. I'll come down to your house and I'll waiting up your front door and I'll grab you by the ankles and I'll take you right outside. And I'll kick your teeth in and hang you out of your man's bashing line. Yeah, absolute. Oh, I can't even call you.
Ooh, okay, I'll tell you what. Let's get to everybody else here because I can see where this is going here. So, what's that?
Me and Walker were 1-1. I eliminated him at the National Colliery Brawl, and he threw me through the door when we had our match with Blizzard. It's 1-1, and we're not finished yet. Not by a long shot.
I could see that, and certainly the mood you've been in, BMD, especially after what you did to James Barris also at the end of the year. I certainly feel you have retribution. And also, for advice for you, BMD, Davey is a very experienced wrestler, so be careful. As
Absolutely.
Metallica famously sang, don't tread on me, and that could be the theme song.
True, baby.
It could be. Listen, it will, and I don't think he's going to be in the unforgiving mood either. So let's certainly see here. Let's enter Sandman here when it comes to the unpredictable jackal, Leo McLean. Leo, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to say to your opponents or anything else on your mind? Also, plug where we can get in touch with you on social media. Any Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever else. And I thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hope to speak with you much, much more here in the near and distant future.
First of all, thank you for having us, and we would love that. Secondly, BMD, you're going to smack me? I love pain. It's amazing. What I don't get is why... You know what? How about in the Rumble? We'll just settle it then and there. West, is it? Have you signed a form since you're 15? I mean, me and David don't want to smack you about, and David, I've got a lot of respect for you, so I'll put my hands up and say,
no.
I think that's the smartest thing anybody said today is, listen, Davey, I respect you, and that's kind of how I see it. So, I mean, certainly that might have been the smartest thing anybody else had said. And anything else you'd like to share, Mr. Unpredictable Jackal, Leo McLean? Any social media, anywhere we can get in touch with you and find out what you're doing, especially here for our Firestar Championship Wrestling fans?
Well, my YouTube and Facebook is just Leo McLean. And my Twitter is at Leo McLean PW.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure to follow that here when we're off the air after we speak with Mr. Skullz, and we'll get all that stuff here situated. Also, before I get to the Oracle Bella, who's not related to Nikki or Brie Bella, thankfully. Young Horace, who's going to be at the show also. Young Horace has certainly got a new turn of events as well. He's got a new attitude. If you saw what he did to the Cult of Killjoy, Dan Robertson, a couple weeks back at Nonstop Action Wrestling, says, it'll be a pleasure to meet you all and to throw all of you over the top rope when I represent Beverly in the Open Weight Championship Rumble. Also, Walker Wall Street would like to say, take me whenever, same results. I kick that small little head in, then move on like I always do, although he has his own issues right now, I know, when it came to Mr. Tommy Diamond there. But also here, BMD is like a weird present you get for free of Wish. Okay, well, that's interesting comments there. Walker Wall Street, who I know is in rather the, I guess, giving mood tonight. I'm sure we'll get him back here for sure on Sportswire Radio. The Oracle Bella, I'd like to give you the floor. And anything else you'd like to say before we get to closing thoughts from everyone else, and any social media you have out there, or anything else you want to say to your opponents, especially Summer Rae and Christy Love. And thank you for having us.
Thank you. First of all, my social medias are currently under review.
Fair enough. I won't ask.
Nothing like that. They're just being
Refurbished.
Fair enough.
to Summer and Kirsty. Not much to say. Just watch out as I've come to play.
Okay, I'll tell you what. As Dee Snyder of Twisted Sister had famously sang, "Come out and play." It looks like the Oracle Bella is ready to play, and Christy Love and Summer Rae may very well want to stay tuned because the Oracle Bella could be bringing home that Firestar Women's Championship. And the future West Danger, obviously, want to give you the floor, my friend. Want to give you some final thoughts for anybody else you may see in that 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, the Rumble as well, and certainly I have a feeling we'll see you on Sportswire soon, and certainly some many acquaintances of ours. We certainly seem to have that in common. But I turn it over to you, champ. I want to give you the floor. Any social media out there, please plug, and anything else you want to say to your future opponents next weekend there at Firestar Championship Wrestling. Be my guest.
All right. So all I need to say is it Leo or is it Bella? You know, I don't know. I forgot the name of it. The guy. Is it Leo or is it Bella?
Leo.
All right. So don't get me wrong, but I don't think you should be wrestling. You look like you being, the band Kiss and you little guitar. Like the face pit and all that. But anyway, yeah. So if you're on the Rumble, coming for you first. I'll leave BMD left. He's the biggest guy. He's the biggest guy of us all. He'll take me out definitely.
Yeah. I was humoring you there when you were getting at big licks to Leo and Bella, but I'll tell you what, you talk about me. Talk about me.
Eh?
No, see, I thought so. No, man. Right, carry on.
Thank you, mate. Anyway, as I was saying, I've found out I'm in the 5-on-5 match. I don't know when it is, but wherever it is, I can't wait for that. I'm going to focus on the Rumble first. And in the Rumble, I will show you all what I can do. I'll be doing my 450s, my handsprings, anything you name it, I will do it. I might suicide dive out, you never know. It depends how close the crowd is. But there's one thing though, I'm coming out with that openweight championship. And I'm coming home with my family, with my friends, and I'm showing that belt and I'm showing them that all that belief they have put in me has paid off. All of that work, all that effort I have done all my life is coming now. I'm going to show everyone who's doubted me, all the teachers, all the people who have made fun of me in my life. I'm going to show them that I'm a true wrestler and I've been right my whole entire life. Everything I've sacrificed will show today when I become the openweight champion.
I respect that, buddy. Well done, Sonny. Oh, all the best, mate. I respect that.
And for my social medias, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I was on Twitter, but I just got off that because I didn't really understand it very well. But my Instagram is WestDanger_PW. My YouTube is just West Danger, and the TikTok is WestDanger_PW as well.
All right, fantastic. We'll make sure to follow you on some of those platforms. I want to give a shout out to a couple of more people that have tuned in before we get to certainly Mr. Skullz, who's waiting here in the back. Want to give a shout out to the legendary Joe Dell of Sleepy Hollow. Want to give a shout out to Jam Dog, who was tuned in. Also want to give a shout out to a woman listening also in California for Skullz. That is Mrs. Anastasia Riznia, big wrestling fan. Also, a few more comments till we get to the last one here, Mr. Davey Blaze. Also, Walker would like to wish everybody luck, wishing you all the best. Andy had said, let's go BMD, going to tear the place up. And also here, BMD, easy win. And for BMD, I know he signed off, so we thank him for the opportunity. Also want to remind everybody, if you are in the area, the show will take place, doors open 6:15 p.m., first bell is 7 o'clock. It'll be at the Armstrong Center. That'll be at Grove Hill Road in Beverly. And for more information, you can go to Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram and Twitter, or also Firestar Championship Wrestling at gmail.com. So All great stuff there. But certainly we did not go last, but not certainly least. And you, Mr. Davey Blaze, I am sure are going to have a lot to say here in these closing thoughts. So I want to give you the floor. Anything else you want to plug, share, say? And I have a feeling we'll be hearing from you a lot more on Sportswire Radio and especially in Firestar Championship Wrestling. So the floor is yours, my friend. Fire away.
I just want to say thank you very much for bringing me on tonight, and it's been a pleasure. You know, I mean, it's like sometimes when people run their mouth, they need to be slapped back in place, and it's simple as that. And I mean, I don't mind. I don't care how big you are, or how small you are, what age you are. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I was crap at maths anyway, but I'll tell you what. Do not think for 1 minute. I mean, anybody. I mean, it could be just don't. It's don't man, because it'll just be like bin, black bin, boom. Yeah, I'll just split up with a brush, man, constantly. But other than that, no, it's been great coming on the show, you know, with the other wrestlers for NCW and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm so excited. I'm actually so excited. I'm ready for this. I've been cheering for this, and you know, come the show.
Next Saturday, listen, March 4th, I'll promote it for you. Don't you worry about that. You're in the main event. You're the guy.
I mean, I need to get a bit of soda cream on there. I mean, just.
Well, Mr. Hammerhead Smith Jr., I'm sure he's going to be thinking about that between now and next week. That's all he's going to be.
He's going to have a lot of stuff to think about. I mean, don't you worry. And I mean, if I see him, he's getting confronted as well. I mean, he's not coming on here giving it Rabstar, thinking that I'll not be doing anything. I mean, he'll truly understand what the Scottish Savage is and who he is. And I'll be bringing my tub of soda cream with me, because that other guy in off, he's CCW or whatever the company's called, his belt will just go right off him and all. And the soda cream, do you know what? They're not even getting any soda cream. They're not even getting it. Bump backsides like that everywhere. But other than that, my Instagram, I've only got Instagram for everybody to follow me. Follow me, and I'll lead you the way, because I'll be their new FCW heavyweight champion. The Scottish Savage is at Davey Blaze UK on Instagram. Get following and get sharing. Here we go.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first from Davey Blaze. You better follow him, because this guy will come after you. You saw what he did there with that cream bottle there. I mean, who knows what else? You could see him at the pub. You could see him right in front of you. Who knows where else? He's got a lot of passion. He's got a lot of fire. He's the perfect reason.
Mate. I'm obsessed. And obsession is going to lead me to success and greatness. Obsession, get it right.
I tell you what, it very well could be that case here. You've got the drive, the passion, and the obsession, and we'll certainly see as Firestar Championship Wrestling will crown several championships, and our people here tonight with us could very well be the openweight champion or the women's champion or also the European champion, the world champion, who knows what else. But I know one thing, you certainly want to follow all of these great people. Last comment here before we get to Mr. Skullz. Let's Go Danger from Tornado Travis. Also here, Adam Morgan, who is over in the state of Texas, and he's another big wrestling star, says, whoop, slap him in the face. Dustin Hart says, it'll be a battle of experience between you and Rob Bagwell. BMD apologizes for leaving off the stream. Also here, this person's from management in Nonstop Action Wrestling. That is Richard Knights or MX Knight, says, can't be here for the whole episode, but I hope each person here manages to progress to the point that they want in their wrestling careers. If you want in on Nonstop Action Wrestling, which you can follow on Instagram at NSOR Wrestling UK, Facebook Nonstop Action Wrestling, NSOR_UK on Twitter, YouTube at Nonstop Action Wrestling, we are willing to review anyone with the talent to take on our roster. So you heard it here first tonight. You guys have stood out so much that now another wrestling company might want your services in Nonstop Action Wrestling. So
yeah, Nonstop Action Wrestling. Just you get following Davey Blaze, the Scottish Savage, at Davey Blaze UK on Instagram.
I will follow you.
And I'll tell you what, we can take it from there, and I will give your whole roster the absolute most best arse slapping that you'll ever see.
Well, I'll tell you what, they have a show coming up.
Champion as well.
They have a show coming up April the 1st, which you guys all could be a part of. It's called Zenith, and the actual guest host of that is none other than Mr. Martin Kirby. So maybe you could speak with him as well on that, and obviously young Horace will be there. But obviously, guys, it has been a tremendous honor to have you guys on here. I wish you guys all the best in Firestar Championship Wrestling. I'm looking forward to the future. I hope to have you guys on after March 4th, and maybe some of you will be champions. We can talk about that. You guys definitely have, as Davey would say, the passion, obsession, and the drive here when it comes to all that. So thank you guys for the opportunity. Best of luck out there, and we look forward to speaking with you soon here on Sportswire Radio.
Thank you, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was here the future West Danger, the unpredictable Jackal, Leo McLean, the Oracle Bella, and the Scottish Savage, Davey Blaze here. BMD was with us here also. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. We were here speaking Firestar Championship Wrestling's first show coming up March the 4th. Doors open 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time. 7 p.m. is the first match. It'll be at the Armstrong Center. That'll be at Grove Hill Road in Beverly. That's at the Armstrong Center. For more information, you can go to Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram, Facebook, also Firestar Championship Wrestling at gmail.com. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, and we are now joined by our guest here who has been waiting. He is the man that some would say is the soul hunter. He's the collector of souls. He is one of the big reasons why everybody is focused on the EWF these days. His name needs no introduction to Sportswire Radio, but we're giving it to him anyway. His name is Skullz, the Soul Hunter. Mr. Skullz, how are
Thank you, Tom.
How you doing there, Skullz? Long time, so to speak, and happy to have you here for the first time on Sportswire.
Thank you. Yeah, I asked you got some good news today.
Yeah, you got some good news, and you might want to tell us that. Before you do that, I want to give a shout out to somebody that's tuned in that is from the Sports Authorities group. His name is John Gonzalez. John is a big man. He also won the Sportswire Radio NFL picks for us here in the regular season. Also in the postseason, he was technically the champion, and he's a big man. He's 6'3", so maybe he's thinking about a wrestling career in addition to an NFL picks career. So he's tuned in. But Skullz, obviously you've got some good news here. And I obviously would like to know, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, although I know a little bit about you, but, for those that are listening and watching, talk about Skullz and how you've gotten onto this journey, which has led you to the EWF.
So, I started watching EWF back in 2006 as a fan. So, once I started getting bored in life, I decided, hey, I wanted to join a wrestling school. So I went into San Bernardino, California, and said, hey, I want to start getting properly trained, no shenanigans.
Okay, so I mean, when you go into this journey, and was there ever some concern? I mean, because you are Skullz, you are the soul hunter. I know you've spent most of your life collecting souls and thinking about which person was on the list. And was there ever a thought, hey, you know what, this is something that maybe I have second thoughts on? Was it something you knew when you walked into that school that was what you wanted to do?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I was wrestling for a underground company called Extreme American Wrestling.
Okay.
Which was never a big promotion. It was basically an underground promotion. And the guy who was training me never trained me properly. Basically, he had no clue to what he was doing. Within 6 months of the thing going on, most of the wrestlers end up getting seriously injured.
Yeah, we don't want that. I mean, I know you might collect souls, but we don't want anybody to get seriously injured out there.
Yes, and I was the only one in that company to hold the hardcore belt.
Oh, okay. What was that like then, being the hardcore champion?
It was painful,
I would think, right? Hardcore.
doing a lot of backyard stuff with no padded mats,
Ooh.
solid ground level.
Hmm.
And we used to do this at our local high school. We used to just find random stuff and use them as weapons.
What was that like then? I mean, wrestling in a high school. I mean, obviously you were a big guy in high school and you did other things, but was that almost like a this is your life type of thing?
So I wrestled in high school. Then I didn't really have a choice because my two older cousins were on the team. So they kind of dragged me into the wrestling stuff. Then when I got into underground wrestling, I saw my friend doing it. I decided, hey, let me just give it a try, and I actually fell in love with it.
I mean, who were some of the wrestlers that you looked up to in terms of saying, hey, you know what? I want to go out there. I know the EWF is important. I'll come to them in a second. But who were some of the wrestlers that maybe you looked up to in terms of why you
One
wanted
of
to
my
go out and
favorite hardcore wrestlers was Sabu.
Ah, well, he
Growing up.
was certainly hardcore. I mean, there's no question. He put his body through things that, I
I
only
love Jeff Hardy. Hopefully he gets his life straightened out.
Yeah, that's been the big talk of the wrestling world. We haven't seen him in a ring, and I want to say maybe 9 months, right? About 8 or 9 months, I want to say now. It's been about just about, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's been. I know last time I heard about Jeff Hardy, he was in a rehab facility, and it's suspended currently from AEW wrestling.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, we hope for the best for Jeff Hardy, and you think about those two wrestlers you mentioned, Sabu and obviously Jeff Hardy, certainly two iconic wrestlers, and then going about there. I mean, two different styles though. Was there a style that you look to, let's say, maybe try to emulate so much, or anything else that came to mind when it comes to that, Mr. Skullz?
I just love the hardcoreness. That's my type of style. So I was more of more of a ground type of wrestler.
Ground and pound, as they might say in football. Ground and pound.
Ground and pound. Before I even joined wrestling, I was doing mixed martial art. I was training with Uriah Faber and Dan Henderson of Team Quest.
Wow. Okay, I know those names actually. Okay, go ahead.
And they both are considered legends. And Dan Henderson is now in the UFC Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So I kind of slowly moved away from mixed martial art. And I wanted it to go into wrestling. Because I always grew up watching wrestling on TV, going to events, and watching my cousin wrestle.
So when it came to, let's say, those names you mentioned, obviously UFC legends, and you have your own journey. Obviously, you go on a little bit of a different detour because, well, you're Skullz, right? And obviously, you were born as the Soul Hunter. But, I mean, what was those experiences like with them starting out? Because obviously, you guys are all starting out around the same time, I would imagine. And what was those experiences that you learned from them that kind of maybe helped you into your own journey?
So basically, it taught me a lot of discipline. Because growing up, after I lost my sister to a fatal accident,
I'm so sorry.
I was always angry at myself or anyone who said my sister's name. So I developed a lot of depression, anger issues, and going into mixed martial art, it taught me how to self-control my anger. Same thing with wrestling.
And especially since you're Skullz, obviously you're a soul collector. So, I mean, obviously you can't be, you need to have a certain mindset to be kind of focused, I would think, right? Because you do collect souls.
Yeah.
That's good, obviously, and certainly. I mean, let's talk about the EWF for a second. We'll come back to some of the journey, but I mean, I've seen some of your videos out there. I've seen some different stuff on your YouTube page, and I mean, talk about the EWF for those that are listening and watching. What is the EWF, and what maybe we can expect from you in the future there?
So currently, right now, I am training right now, and what I'm hoping is in the future, once I get at least a year of training or more, to start wrestling on the independent circuit, getting myself out there. In the meantime, right now, I'm actually doing meet and greet with fans at the EWF show.
Oh, really? So, I mean, what's that been like, meeting the fans? I mean, obviously, we knew you had fans from the beginning, but I mean, what is that like when you're now meeting some of your future fans and future people you're going to see out there in the ring? I mean, what has that experience taught you maybe here these past several
It's actually
years?
it's really great to meet new people, and also getting advice from wrestlers that have been in the business longer than I have, and getting to know their type of style.
Who have been some of the wrestlers you've gotten a chance maybe to get their ear and maybe talk with them and maybe get some advice and such?
So there's one that some people may have heard of. His name is Anthony Idol.
Oh, I know Anthony Idol. Yes, I
which
do.
is our current EWF heavyweight champion. Another wrestler, one day, if he's still in the company, by the time I start wrestling, I would love to team up with him or face him, which he goes by the name CJ Thunder.
CJ
the Apache
Thunder.
Warrior out of Arizona.
CJ Thunder sounds like an interesting opponent there that you almost, in a way, either want to tag or face. Tell us why.
So, me and CJ, we have he was one of the first wrestlers to welcome me into the school when I was just a fan. So we kind of built up that friendship.
So you'd like to maybe prove your worth against somebody that you kind of maybe took, how can I put this? Not a liking to, but maybe somebody that you looked upon to advice in a sense. And maybe that's why you would want to show what you've learned.
Yeah, it's like passing the torch.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see why here is we are here with pro wrestling up-and-coming star Skullz, the Soul Hunter, and of course, Skullz is a huge part of things in the EWF. You can catch him on YouTube, you can catch him on Instagram, you can catch him on Facebook. It is an honor to have him here on Sportswire Radio. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and we are here with Skullz, and what an interesting evening this has been here on Sportswire Radio. But, I wanted to ask you this question, Skullz. I know, obviously, you haven't really wrestled at the moment. I mean, you've had some different stuff here and there you might want to say you've done, but I always like to ask this question, especially to a new wrestler that's starting out here, and we have some people that are now joining us once again. I mean, what are your goals in professional wrestling?
So my goal is to get some championship belts sooner or later, and meet a certain person who's been trash talking me on Twitter by the name of Grim.
Grim? Boy, I mean, I actually knew somebody here in New York named Grim, and he actually, I can't believe I'm saying this.
He's the owner of GTS Wrestling.
And talk about Grim. All right,
New Jersey.
So why is Grim trash talking you here, Mr. Skullz?
So, about a year ago, I wrote him a letter.
Really? They still do those things?
So I wrote him a letter as a fan.
Okay, all right.
Saying, hey, I would like to come to your show. I will pay my way to get out there. And this was during the time his whole entire roster was turning on him. He was getting attacked. For me, as a soul collector, I was offering him a friendly hand to be his partner.
And
Because
why
he
did he
did
turn
not
you down?
lay down for anyone or let anyone get over. So now, fast forward a year later now, to this time, his own brother, Doo-Hop, had turned on him. Which I try to warn him about. Never trust family.
That's a good point. That's a fair point. And
because sooner or later, they're going to turn on you. Like we have seen with the Usos.
We have seen that obviously here with Jimmy and Jay, and obviously
like with the Hardy Boys.
The Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, we've seen that in the past. I mean, the Steiners even years ago. I mean, it's a long list. The Dudleys at one time. But I mean, if you offered somebody their help, and I have some comments I'll get to in a second, but I mean, why would he have turned you down? I mean, especially as a fan writing to him. I mean, what made you so motivated to reach out in that way?
I got tired of seeing him getting his ass whipped, tired of all the cheap shots. He had pretty much no one to back him up. His own partner, Doo-Hop, which is his brother of DF, half the time was not there. So he had nobody to be in his corner.
Well, it's like you said, family, you can't trust them. Let me get to a couple of comments here first. I'd like to give a big shout out to my guest coming up Sunday night, a big man himself, a big man out of the UK. His name is Big Cheese Logan, and Big Cheese Logan is really, really a big, big giant. He is going to be somebody that I have a feeling that we're going to have a lot to talk about with. So looking forward to with him. And also, I've got a question here for you from Dustin Hart, one half of the CCW Tag Team Champions from the CWO. How long have you actually been training?
So actually, I started training back in 2006 to 2009. Then I stopped training. Now with the new school I'm at now, I'm actually been only training for about a month or two now.
Okay, well, let me ask you a follow-up question, because that's something interesting. Because I know, obviously, you're the soul hunter. I know you collect souls for a living. But, so you trained for a couple of years, back 15 or so years ago, give or take, depending on the math. And then you have this period where you're away from the business. And I'd have to be curious in terms of what made you kind of leave. And then during that period that you left the business, was there ever a thought you were going to do this again? Was there just a thought maybe you dropped wanting to wrestle again altogether? So talk about that journey and maybe even the gap between where you were training to the comeback, which started not too long ago.
So after I left the wrestling company, the owner went off to the military.
Okay.
And served in Iraq. And so things started going downhill, and I started pretty much losing myself. I had to rehabilitate myself from my depression and get pretty much clean and sober.
So that was a tough period then in your life, if you don't mind me asking, because, you're training and then you have somebody that you're looking upon to, and he goes understandably so to serve our country at that particular time. When you talk about 2006 to 2009 was when.
And also, during that time, I decided to go to college and start earning my degree in sports medicine.
Oh, I mean, I guess that kind of led you to learn to be a soul collector then, right? Sports medicine.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, I mean, but you went through some personal issues. That's a long time. I mean, to make that comeback, I mean, obviously, I give you a lot of credit. You were 14, 13 years away from
Yes, and a lot of
wrestling.
it had to do with financial issues as well.
So you always then, to be fair, it sounds like you did want to come back to wrestling. You just had
Yes, I
personal
always
issues.
wanted to go to wrestling. And one of my good friends, rest in peace, Jason, who recently passed away about a year or two ago,
I'm so
he
sorry.
actually always wanted to go to a Monday Night Raw event. So I took him to a Monday Night Raw event, and watching him light up when he actually got to meet his idol, John Cena, that threw energy and fire back into me to say, hey, I want to get back into professional wrestling.
You know, that's and obviously, I would imagine you're also doing this for him as well because
Yes, I always wanted to live his legacy, live his dream out for him.
So it's safe to say he wanted to have been a wrestler as well.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another follow-up with this, and I find this for those that are listening and watching here important to know because we have a lot of wrestlers, as you know. You listen to a lot of this stuff, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your support, and I wanted to ask you in terms of let's say in the middle of that time period, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, would you ever say to yourself you were going to give up on wanting to be a wrestler? Was there a point because you're going through these personal financial issues and, you know, things were down and you know, did you ever think, hey, it's just never going to happen to me?
Yes, I did think about that at the time. Like, hey, I'm never going to accomplish what I wanted to do. Because growing up, I was always told I would never accomplish anything due to my disability that I have. But I'm still ticking, and I'm still proving a lot of people who doubted me over the years that I can accomplish those goals if I set my mind to them.
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, if everybody goes out there and if you put your mind to it, anything can happen. It sounds like you're going to do that. And I do have a comment here for you. And I think this person actually thinks that you're wrestling in Firestar Championship Wrestling. And I don't think they realize this. So I'll just put it up for giggles. It's actually, yeah, this person says West Danger is going to smash you. But yes, Skullz is actually wrestling here in the state of California. He's with a company called EWF. He's not going to be there at next weekend's Firestar Championship Wrestling show, Helen Noble. So you might, with all due respect, might want to ask that question to
so I'm not going to be there at that company, but I am going to be at a show March 11th in San Bernardino.
I think I might know this show. Is this a company that I might be familiar with called the Wrestling Warzone?
No. It's actually my school that is actually doing a show called I Love Chicken and Waffle.
Oh, wow.
In San Bernardino, California.
Okay, well, the EWF is doing a Chicken and Waffles wrestling match or show. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so it's at 7 p.m. in San Bernardino, California. Tickets are only $20.
Ooh, that's good. And where can we find out more tickets so we can plug that?
So, if you guys want to order tickets, you guys can show up to the vendor. Or, for more information, go to EmpireWrestlingFederation.com.
Oh.
And they'll have all of our shows that we're going to be doing.
Excellent choice. And now, is the Empire Wrestling Federation on social media, I would have to imagine, right?
Yes, we have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. If you guys cannot go to the certain event that we do, you guys can watch some of the matches
And I want
on
everybody
their
to do that.
channel.
Absolutely. And I also, for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio, we have now just shared our interview here with Mr. Skullz on the Empire Wrestling Federation Facebook page. So we want to thank the Empire Wrestling Federation for granting us this opportunity because, well, I'm a part of the group. And also, I have a comment from my guest last week who wants to give you a kind of, I guess maybe it's a tip of the hat. That is the Cult of Killjoy, Dan Robertson, who wrestles for companies like CCW, Blackheart Wrestling, Nonstop Action Wrestling. And he says, straight out of Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, are you straight out of Grand Theft Auto 5, or am I missing something here?
I don't know if I'm straight out of Grand Theft Auto 5, but I have played GTA 5.
No, I was going to actually
Online.
ask. Well, I have to ask you a funny question here, Mr. Skullz, because I feel like, because I've played Grand Theft Auto, though it's been a while since, admittedly, I've played. I used to play it with a friend of mine that I went to high school with for many years. We would hang out in his basement here in Brooklyn, New York. Well, in the friendly confines of his basement, I should rather say. And we would play Grand Theft Auto. And I always thought that maybe was Grand Theft Auto taken out of San Bernardino in California? Because I almost feel like the scenes come out of California there, Mr. Skullz. Can you elaborate on that?
5, basically out of Los Angeles area.
I thought that was the case. So I did happen to think that for whatever reason it was.
So if you play Grand Theft Auto Vice City, that was supposed to be Miami.
Yes, that I remember. I remember playing Vice City. Yes.
And if you play San Andreas towards the end of the game, you're actually in Las Vegas. Well, San Andreas is also supposed to be part of HLA area.
Okay, all right, that's a good point. And I want to give a shout out to somebody else before I get to Mr. Robertson back once again. Rob Maraska, baseball analyst for Sportswire Radio. You might have seen Rob on the Friday night shows, and he says he's enjoying this interview, and he's from Staten Island, New York. So Rob Maraska is enjoying this interview. I didn't really think Rob was the wrestling fan, but he is enjoying this interview because, well, you are the soul collector, because obviously you are a soul collector. And Dan Robertson would like to address you again, saying, ever need friends? The cult's recruiting. So are you looking for more friends? Are you looking to join a cult? I mean, I know you're a soul hunter. I know you collect souls. I know you're out there, whether it's in a ditch somewhere, Potter's Field, a cemetery. I mean, are you looking for friends? Would you want to join a cult, and a cult of Killjoy, no less?
If it gets me in the door, I'm up to it.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, certainly Skullz has said basically that he wants to join. And also here, you can follow him on Instagram, 88 Skullz, and it's SKULLZ. I think that's the correct spelling. And Dave Douglas from the Modern Day Mafia, one of the biggest tag teams around in CCW. We've seen him in GT Ministries, Bolton Town Wrestling, Firestar Championship Wrestling, gives a smiley face. I guess he likes the face. And would you want to join a mafia? I mean, they're the Modern Day Mafia, and they have a Don that leads them. I mean, Mr. Skullz, would you want to join a mafia? Are you the mafia type of guy?
No, not too sure about them, because I've been watching and hearing them on. I might have to think about this one.
Yeah, you got a lot to think about here. I mean, Skullz, people certainly they wanted to hear you, and you know, you're certainly getting a lot of different questions here from around the world. I'm sure that you definitely maybe didn't expect that here, but that's okay. And I have to ask you,
the world, because I've been to Canada and I've been to Mexico, but I haven't been over the lake yet, or the ocean.
You got to come out to the UK. You've got to try to get out there to England and obviously that burgeoning wrestling scene. And where have you been in Canada? I mean, obviously wrestling fans might be curious. Where have you been out there in the
So I've been to Toronto.
Okay,
Canada.
which Toronto to me honestly is at this point almost like New York. But okay, I'll give you that.
And I also been to Alberta.
Okay, Calgary, I would imagine, or Edmonton.
Huh?
Calgary or Edmonton?
I think it was Calgary. I was like 5 years old at the time when I first went to Canada.
Well, Calgary, I would always mention, obviously, the Hart Foundation with the dungeon was obviously the biggest reason I would think about the Alberta and the Hart family, and then they're kind of what the equivalent would be maybe in the UK to, let's say, the Knight family, which is Soraya's family and Ricky Knight and all those people. And there's a famous building there, if you're a sports fan, called the Saddle Dome. It's a different name now, but everybody would kind of, if you were a broadcaster, you would broadcast the games like all the way up, and you'd almost have to walk like a tightrope. Literally, it's like a tightrope in order to get to your seat. It's like really, really a bizarre situation there. But, for those that are listening and watching on Sportzwire Radio, now that we have a lot more people that have tuned in here, Mr. Skullz, I have to ask you, how did you become a soul hunter? That's the biggest question everybody wants to know.
So how I became a soul hunter would have to do with the memory of my sister. Always coming and haunting me with what's causing my depression. So, if I wanted to think of her, why not collect a soul when they mention her name? So, I always thought it was my darkest time. Let me be reborn without the skin on my face. From all the injuries and all the blood that I have built. And the harm.
So it's almost like you're the EWF's version of Kane, right?
Probably pretty much.
Well, certainly you do bring hellfire and brimstone. And I would have to ask, I mean, because you did kind of say this on Sportswire Radio a couple of days ago. I mean, are you looking still to collect my soul? Am I on the list still, or am I being scratched off a little bit? If you remember the Billy Madison movie, there was Steve Buscemi's character. When it came to Billy Madison, originally Billy was on the list, and then all of a sudden Billy kind of stood up for the guy, and he kind of, when he was there in the building at the end of the movie, I don't want to spoil, I know it's like 30 years ago anyway, but he kind of looked at him and he gave him a nod and kind of walked away. So am I on this list still of souls you want to collect, or maybe am I getting a pass tonight?
You are not on the list of soul collecting.
Really? I was happy to hear that, because
the only way to get on the list is you cross the line.
Interesting here. Interesting. So hopefully nobody here really crosses.
So don't piss off the skull.
No, we don't want to do that, because you are the soul hunter.
Grim of GTS Wrestling.
Now, I mean, GTF Wrestling, I mean, how did you find out about them, being that they're in the state of New Jersey and you're in California? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, GTS is in New Jersey, totally based out of Tom River.
How did you find out about them? You're all the way in California.
So, how I found out about GTS Wrestling was one day I was just strolling on YouTube. And I've been a big fan of SWF, which is basically another company out of New Jersey, Philadelphia, with the promoter of Raw Fury.
Okay. I think I'm vaguely familiar with that. Okay, that makes sense.
Which he's out of New York area, in Brooklyn.
Yep.
So I found Graham through SWF, and he was always talking about GTF. So I typed in GTF, and it came up at Graham Toy Show. And some of the major wrestlers that came out of his company, such as MJF, Thunder Rosa, who else? There's so many of them. Even the man without the chin. That was James Ellsworth.
Yes, James Ellsworth, obviously the man who holds, I believe, 2 pinfall victories over AJ Styles, and then I don't know if he ever won a match again in the WWE.
I have not seen him win a match lately. And even the Boogeyman has appeared in GTS.
Really? Okay. Well, you look like, would you be related to the Boogeyman at all? Do you guys are like distant cousins by any chance?
I would not even come close to the Boogeyman. I might be afraid he might eat some worms.
Oh, even for you, the Boogeyman's a bit
somebody's throat.
Even for you, the Boogeyman's a little interesting. Okay, I would not have noticed that, Mr. Skullz. Interesting. Okay, all right. So you and the Boogeyman aren't related. You find out here about the for GTF. Obviously, this is a company that you still have set your sights on. And I mean, who else have you set your sights on here? Especially as we start thinking about the future of you and maybe when we can expect you in the ring.
So hopefully by the middle of next year, because I just got over an injury.
That's not
that
good.
was the breaking news I was going to tell everybody.
Well, I mean, let's go.
That I've been medically cleared to return to the ring and start training again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge, huge. If you thought the breaking news when it came to Firestar Championship Wrestling was big, you thought last week's shows when it came to wrestlers attacking one another or referees was big, we've got breaking news here. Again, Skullz, you are medically able to return to action, to in-ring training. Is that correct?
Yeah. So 3 weeks ago, when I was training, I had torn a muscle in my lower stomach. That it pretty much made me puke the souls out that I have collected. That I had to be taken to the hospital.
Wow, even for you, if you had to puke, that's kind of like a big deal.
And it was so painful that I couldn't even lay down.
Oof. I thought having a clogged ear was bad. You couldn't even lay down, and that's not good.
Every time I sneezed, it felt like somebody had kicked me in my nuts. Because it was so painful.
Oof. I don't know how you got over it, Mr. Skullz. I mean, you are the soul hunter, but I mean, I don't know how you got over that.
Basically, taking a lot of ice baths.
I wasn't even going to ask you about that.
That's at a training school.
So you must be excited then. You're going to get back into action. You have this little delay, and we're going to start training here soon again. And this has got to be the extra pep in your step that you needed, I would think, Mr. Skullz.
Yeah.
This is big. This is really, a huge announcement here. And, of course, if you want to follow Skullz, you can do so, again, on Instagram at 88 Skullz, the Empire Wrestling Federation on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube as well. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, continue to give us a like on Facebook and YouTube at Sportswire Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player, and I'll be back here with full coverage here tomorrow with Disciple, who has his own breaking news that we'll get into here tomorrow on Sportswire. We're about 9 o'clock British Standard Time, and of course, Disciple is the GT Ministries and the Nonstop Action Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He's going to have a lot to say on his mind, so I look forward to that here. And also, I have a comment here from another guy who's a big man, by the way, and he's done some soul collecting in his own right. His name is Mr. Steven Saperstein. Of course, Steven Saperstein was the co-founder of the Shorefront Coalition, ran for public office. He was the winner of the 2021 Democratic primary in the 48th Councilmatic District in southern Brooklyn, the neighborhoods of Sheepshead Bay, Brighton Beach, Manhattan Beach, Trump Village, Luna Park, parts of Midwood, Gravesend, Homecrest, a little tiny piece of Marine Park in Madison. And he says that, Mr. Skullz, wishing you lots of luck. Happy to watch this interview with yours truly. And he also says, You would make a great politician. Now, Skullz, are you looking to be a politician? Are you looking to run for office? Is that the real breaking news here on Sportswire Radio? That instead of going back to training, you might maybe making a future stab at a local office somewhere? Are you looking to be a politician, Mr. Skullz, by any chance? Because politicians do collect souls, right? Or the bodies.
I've never been a big politician person myself at all. I don't get into that crap. I just here to collect souls and take names.
That's probably the best advice I think anybody could give here on Sportswire Radio, because, most of them, whether they're Republican or Democrat, a lot of them tend to be full of BS. I mean, Steve obviously is a great guy, and he certainly, I think, would have been an example if he had got in there. But most of the people that represent them, whether it's their local state house member, senator, congress member, Republican or Democrat, do tend to be full of stuff. So that's probably the best advice you could give to anybody, is that, you're not into politics, you're into collecting souls. So I have to ask him, because you collect souls, I mean, where do you store the souls? Where do you keep them? I mean, what does a soul collector do when they actually collect the souls?
I just basically take them back to the graveyard.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Well, it's funny that you should say that, because my next door neighbors are a graveyard, and overnights I'm a newspaper carrier, and I actually literally deliver to a graveyard, a cemetery. So, I mean, do you happen to have maybe frequented the cemetery or graveyard that I might live next to? So, I mean, I actually have a next door neighbor that maybe you've collected a soul from or two.
I don't know. There's been so many I have collected.
I have a follow-up
It's hard to keep count.
Well, Dustin Hart, one half of the CCW Tag Team Champions from the CWO, actually wants to know, how many souls have you collected?
So,
yeah, how many?
I pretty much collected almost everybody's soul when I was in EAW.
Okay, is there a number on that? Is there a number you think you've collected from, or?
It's too many to count.
Oh, boy, you know what? So, I mean, what do you keep them in? Is it almost like remember when Paul Bearer had the urn, and he would basically take this, and he would rise it up, and the Undertaker would go like this, and he'd stand up, and, I mean, how do you actually collect them, if you don't mind me asking?
With the man of the claw.
Well, it's funny you said that. Speaking of what you may have on, I think it was I don't know, I'm sure you heard this actually on Monday's show, but the unforgettable Andre Decker, who is obviously one half of the KOW Tag Team Champions, he is the Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion, which is basically their world title, we had kind of gone back and forth, and I said, you might have actually been born like that. And he was trying to say, well, I'm sure you heard about the comment about you in that mask. And I actually happen to think, Mr. Skullz, that that's who you are in real life. And it's not an act. It was almost like, remember how I brought about Kane? And when you saw Kane, until all of a sudden something changed, that's who he was born with in the fire, and all those years ago with obviously Mr. Bearer and obviously Mr. Undertaker's parents. I mean, I have to think, though, that's how you were born, Mr. Skullz.
Well, a lot of people say that I've been born certain ways.
Yes, they do. They have said that here, even on this show.
Yes, I was born different from most other people. I was born with a disability.
Would you want to elaborate on that?
So, I was born with hard of hearing. Of nerve damage. And it took me a lot of time to learn how to cope with it. It may take me more than one time to get a certain mindset when learning something new. So I never let my disability hold me back from doing things.
Yeah, I certainly don't think you have it all because obviously you are the soul collector. And Dustin Hart wanted to follow up and he wanted to say, you collect them in a jar, which I think I kind of asked that question anyway. So I think you kind of answered whether you actually store these souls or something else you might do with them. So, I mean, I think that's kind of an
I
interesting.
am not no cannibalism kind of guy.
I wasn't going to ask that. Listen, I haven't ate yet because obviously I start my day doing these interviews on Sportswire Radio. So I wasn't going to ask when it comes to
That one.
cannibalism and all that stuff. So I certainly wasn't going to do that. And we are, at least somewhat to an extent, a family friendly station here on Sportswire. So I wasn't going to ask that. But I've learned one thing in life. We are in 2023 and people do things a lot differently than they did even 5 years ago or 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, we might have been growing up as kids. So I would certainly say that there's no question that people definitely, whatever floats your boat, I guess you might want to say, certainly be my guest. But I know one thing, you aren't eating these souls. And I would have to think anyway, if you were collecting a soul, the soul is pretty much yours anyway. And also, Dustin Hart would like to say further that I totally get it. I was born with a face that everyone wanted to punch and did so. So now I train everyone, and I mean everyone. Mr. OK has a lot of disabilities, and he trains so damn hard. He earns his respect in blood, sweat, and paying his dues. Is that something you feel? Do you feel you have to train extra because maybe people look at you a certain way because you are Skullz? Before I get to the next comment, and maybe some few other general thoughts from you.
Yeah, so I have, like most wrestlers, I always look for the sound of the tempo of the movement. I have to basically look at them straight to see what they're going to be the next move going.
Okay, all right.
One of the guys that kind of inspired me was actually an MMA fighter that is completely deaf, that he used ASL. And he was one of the first UFC fighters to be in an octagon that was completely deaf. I don't know many wrestlers out there that are hard of hearing. So yes, we do have to train a little bit extra and different.
Well, there was a baseball player. I don't know if you knew who his name was. It was Curtis Pride. Years ago, played a little bit for the Yankees. He wound up playing for the Montreal Expos, played for the Detroit Tigers, and he communicated via sign language. And he was famous because he got called up as a rookie in 1993 for the Montreal Expos. And there was a story years ago when I was a kid. It was in the New York Times, and I wound up doing a research report, I think, on this. It had to be, I don't know, like in 2000, whatever it was. And he first came up in what's called, for our UK listeners, a pennant race in baseball. And he wound up coming up, if I'm not mistaken, I think he doubled and helped the Expos win a game that they were kind of needing to kind of get back into the postseason race. And they had asked him this question through, I guess, the sign language. And he said that the crowd got him so much that it made him hear, because in Olympic Stadium, which Montreal didn't draw too well at the time, but they were getting fired up because the Expos were starting to get really good. And the crowd was so into him that he could feel it even though he couldn't talk. And I thought that was, interesting points. And Dustin Hart, I didn't know this, is half deaf. And I did not know that. And that's why this is an important interview to have Skullz on here, because Skullz could be an inspiration to somebody out there. And also BMD wants to say he apologizes for going overtime, but that's okay. We're still making up for it here with Skullz, and we appreciate everything that Skullz has done for us on Sportswire.
BMD.
BMD is a good man, a good man. We love BMD here. Everything he does, he's going to be a part of things over at Firestar Championship Wrestling. Dustin Hart is also an inspiration over at Cutlery Championship Wrestling, where he'll be in action coming up this weekend here, and the rest of the gang here. Another sold-out show for CCW, so certainly we love everything that CCW, Firestar Championship Wrestling, and the Empire Wrestling Federation has done. We've got a few more minutes here with Mr. Skullz, and what an honor it has been to be with Skullz. We look forward to more appearances here with Skullz. I know he's a busy man. He's got soul collecting to attend to, but, Skullz, I want to ask you this question, and before I get to Dustin Hart, what will it be like the moment you return back in the ring?
Once I get back in the ring, it basically felt like I was reborn again, doing something that I love doing. I love watching as I was growing up.
Okay, you know what? I could see that. I could definitely see what it'll mean to you, and Dustin would like to give you some advice. And I know that Ronnie Thatcher's got his CCW show coming on here, so I want everybody to go over when we're done with that on the Cutlery Championship Wrestling page. But extra training, learn some good basic wrestling, and being consistent, time, patience, and effort, you will hit your goal. Absolutely no question about it that I have a good feeling that Skullz is going to definitely hit his goals, to say the least. But Skullz, you are definitely somebody that we've long wanted to have on Sportswire. You have definitely been somebody that we have long been looking forward to hearing about this journey, this story. A lot of people have tuned in. They really, really wanted to hear from you. You've definitely shared a lot here. And before I get to closing thoughts, is there anything else you want to share for those that are listening and watching this, wherever they might be, about you, Skullz?
So, I am planning going towards Philadelphia and New Jersey July 7th.
And what are you doing there?
At SWF Wrestling. And if a certain wrestler shows up, his soul might be collected.
Ooh.
And he knows who I'm talking about. Grim.
Grim, you are in big doo-doo, Grim. You are in big doo-doo, because we are just 4 short months away from Skullz coming to the East Coast, this neck of the woods here.
And you're invited.
Well, you know what? We might have to meet, Skullz. We might have to meet here coming up, because if you're going to be in this neck of the woods in July, I think we might have to have a get-together here. So it might be another wrestler on the list that I hopefully have the opportunity to meet maybe in July.
Yeah, I'll be something I'll be looking forward to.
Oh, that makes 2 of us then. I think that means 2 of us here could certainly be looking forward to that. So you heard it first here on Sportswire Radio. Skullz is going to resume training here very soon. He's going to be in our neck of the woods in Philadelphia, in New Jersey, around July the 7th that weekend. So very, very excited stuff here. And also, Dustin Hart wants to also promote this Saturday. I face second to none for the tag titles. Wish them luck. They'll need it. Stay safe. Peace out. And obviously, everybody follow Cutlery Championship Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram for more information. Also, we'll have more coverage of Cutlery Championship Wrestling throughout, as always, on Sportswire Radio. Skullz, I want to give you the floor now. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, say? And I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to more appearances here with the Soul Hunter, and it has been well worth the wait. And the floor is yours, my friend, and fire away.
So, like I told Tom Bryce earlier, I am working on some T-shirts. If you guys want one of the shirts, hit me up on my Facebook or at 88 Skullz. I'm only charging $20 for these shirts, even knowing they cost way more to get them made, but I'm just only charging $20 to actually help me pay for my training session. Because training does not come cheap.
No, they don't. No, training is very, very expensive. Training is almost like going to college in terms of the cost of college. It's almost just about the same cost. So we want everybody to follow. Why don't you get a Pro Wrestling Tees page done?
So I've been walking with Pro Wrestling T,
Okay, you have.
but I'm trying to get to know their website a little bit more.
Okay. All right, well, a few of our wrestlers, Dan Robertson, Young Horace, Champ Rogers, Tommy Dillon, they have a Pro Wrestling Tees page. So if there's somebody out there that wants to connect, obviously, let's help Skullz out with that. But most importantly, let's try to buy a shirt to help this man collect more souls, to get his revenge on Grimm, to get him to come out here to our neck of the woods more often and help him support his journey. You can do that on Facebook at Kevin Reed. Also, 88 Skulls on Instagram. YouTube, Skullz, the Soul Hunter, also Empire Wrestling Federation, and let's help this man because he's got a story that in a way is inspirational and anybody can certainly keep an eye on. My friend, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to having you on throughout this year on Sportzwire Radio. We'll talk different things, anything else you want to say, anything else you want to promote. You are always welcome here, and I'm looking forward to a lot more from you, and bigger and better things are ahead, and keep up the good soul collecting, and we'll speak with you soon.
And just remember, happy soul hunting.
Oh, yeah, listen. Goodwill Soul Hunting here. Remember the movie Goodwill Hunting? Well, it's Goodwill Soul Hunting when it comes to Skullz. And we thank Skullz here, who is from the Empire Wrestling Federation. We thank them for their support as well. And if you are on Sportswire Radio on sportnarium.com/player, you'll go back to your regularly scheduled programming in a little while. If you are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, I will be back tomorrow night with Disciple, 9 p.m. British Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have a big announcement on his behalf. We'll also talk GT Ministries, nonstop action wrestling, plus much, much more. I want to thank, again, Firestar Championship Wrestling. I want to thank the whole gang that joined us. I want to thank BMD. I want to thank, how can we not forget about him, the Scottish Savage, Davey Blaze, the future West Danger, the unpredictable Jackal, Leo McLean, the Oracle Bella, and most importantly, I want to thank Skullz from the Empire Wrestling Federation. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I want to thank everybody here. Enjoy your day. Happy Ash Wednesday to anybody that is going to get their ashes. And if you are on Sportswire Radio, you'll go back to your regularly scheduled programming on sportnarium.com/player. Thank everybody here for tuning in on the number one global radio station. That is Sportswire Radio. Good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. Thank you.